Hi everybody, Mindwiseman, aka Maverick Outdoors, and I'm doing a feature here on my boots, the footwear that I use for my different outdoor pursuits. I had this in the pipeline to do anyway, but even more of a reason to do it is that in the recent past I've had inquiries as to the type of footwear, boots that I might use. Is there a difference between my footwear that I use from canoeing, wild camping, trekking, that sort of thing. So hence me presenting and featuring my footwear to you now. When I was very young, I had an operation on one of my feet and it's left me with a permanent scar on my foot. Quite a large scar, and it's something that I have to consider when I'm acquiring footwear. So I'm a bit restricted and limited to the type of footwear, boots, shoes, trainers, that sort of thing that I can actually wear, because I have to consider that scar on my foot so that I'm not left with discomfort when I'm walking and whatever I'm using my footwear for, basically. So I am a bit restricted as to the type of footwear. There's loads of shoes, boots that I would like to acquire and have, but it just ain't happening because of the condition of my foot and the scar. I have tried, I've tried to source and looked into a whole variety of different nationality, military boots, that sort of thing, even right down to the good old British Commando Goretex lined heavy duty ones, and again it's just not happening. They're too uncomfortable, especially on my scarred foot. So hence the reason whys and wherefores that I've actually got these boots. These would be more of sort of like fair weather day boots that I use for camping, that sort of thing, wherever I need to do anything heavy duty. But even more heavy duty, these are a little bit more weatherproof. They're more leather rather than the suede of the desert boots. And then these boots here are all leather, thermally lined, and I tend to use these more for terra firma trekking, that sort of thing. And I've got my Goretex liners, waterproof socks, which can go not just in any of these boots, but any footwear I choose to put on to keep my feet dry. I've worn these boots trekking up a 45-degree incline of a waterfall clough up in the Peak District. In freezing cold weather, streaming water coming down. These boots have got absolutely soaking. These Goretex socks have been inside and have kept my feet absolutely bone dry, stick dry. Lightweight desert patrol boots, suede, panelling of Cordura material which is breathable, so you can sort of see inside. It's sort of slightly meshy. So it's very breathable. I really like these boots. Say they're lightweight, they're really breathable and comfortable for my feet. Got a pretty good sort of nearly tyre tread type sole to them. They've got a steel shank reinforcement within the sole itself, but for the size and bulkiness of them, they're really lightweight. They've got 9 eyelets in total, where you can see the lace up here. 4 permanent grommet type eyelets. Then there's 4 above that which are hinge eyelets, and then there's a final 9th one which returns back to a grommet. These are great in warm weather. I've sometimes, when I've not been able to take my boots off for a while because I've been out on quite a long expedition, and my boots relatively have been on for over 24 hours, my feet have felt really comfortable in these. These are made by Milcom. As I say, Cordura breathable panelling here, the suede. And yeah, really nice boot. I like these. Say they're comfortable, they're broad fitting, and they're great if you know the weather's going to be hot and you've got a lot of stuff to do outdoors. Desert patrol boots. Okay, now these more heavy duty type of boot, exactly the same shape and style as the suede Cordura desert boot, but this one is leather. Same Cordura panellings at the side which gives it breathability within this lightweight boot. Same sort of tread on the sole, nice and strong. Steel shank structure to give it that extra stability and strength within the boot. But in between the 2 layers of the Cordura material, the external surface and the internal surface, is a very thin layer of fleece lining, thinsulate, which is labelled on a lot of fleece style clothing, from hats to gloves to jackets to all sorts of things. And within these boots there's a very thin layer for thermal properties, and also just slightly lining around some of the internal side of the leather part of the structure of the boot as well. So basically there's a class as thinsulate lined, breathable, plus as well really thermal. I've had these out in the snow, cold weather for a day or two when I've been out for a few days, and a little bit of cold area around the toes, as you can maybe imagine, but they're really comfortable and they've done me well in all weathers. I might use these as well in sort of during the summer. But if you know the weather's going to be a bit inclement, then obviously these are a little bit more practical. These are my all leather trekking boots made by Hi-Tech. They've got a carbon rubber sole, slight sort of softer springiness, mainly in the structure here, so it absorbs more of the impact. I tend to use these more when I'm on longer distances, terra firma terrain for a longer period of time, when I'm doing a lot of walking continually. They're really comfortable. It's I would say these are one of the most comfortable pair of boots I've actually ever had. Considering the amount of time it took to eventually choose these and try on different pairs that were comfortable for both of my feet. So made by Hi-Tech. They've got 4 fixed eyelets here that slightly protrude, and then another 2 which are like the hook eyelets at the top, so they're adjustable if you want to have a little bit of tongue space there to move further away from the front of your ankle. But these are really comfortable for me, all leather, pretty good waterproof. General waterproof for sort of downpours of rain, but obviously walking through streams are eventually going to get pretty soaked through. But for me, really good trekking boot, one of my favourites for terra firma continually or walking. Okay, these are the Goretex type or NATO military issue Syntex, exactly the same as Goretex, does exactly the same job. Biggie bags that you get for bushcrafting to go over your sleeping bags or for any outdoor activity. All the biggie bags are the same sort of material, although they're classed as Goretex, they're actually called Syntex. A lot of military issue stuff via NATO is exactly the same as Goretex, but they call it Syntex, S-E-Y-N-T-E-X. It does the same job. As I say, these kept my feet bone dry when I was walking for about 3.5 hours through different terrain in the little mini waterfalls down this clough. So these are really great. There are obviously, you've got to be a little bit aware. It's got left and right, L, R, because obviously the shape of the foot, so that would be the big toe here and the smaller toe here. It's just a slight difference, so they're not identical, hence left and right. So that's the Goretex socks, really versatile. You can just fold them up. I can actually use these, take these with me when I'm going to use my desert patrol boots, and if I get caught out in rainy bad weather when my boots are going to get wet for whatever reason, take the boots off, don these, put the boots back on, and I've got waterproof dry feet. And a final note, some people might be for or against high-ankled boots. These are a bit different, obviously, because they fit me comfortably. They don't necessarily have to be a high ankle as such because of the nature of their use. But these are different. I'm covering different types of terrain, getting in and out of the canoe, crawling onto riverbanks, climbing up sometimes riverbanks, and I need protection around my ankles. So not just for the support, but where some of the ground cover might actually press into my ankles around this area. So when I'm in the canoe and when I'm canoeing, doing all my outdoor pursuits, then that's why I chose also these high-ankled boots. So anyway, I hope it's given you some ideas, answered some of the questions that were from some of the previous inquiries, and I'll catch up with you in another video soon. Cheers. more of a reason to actually feature it now. When I was very young, I had an operation on one of my foot. I think the word's one of my feet. Because if it was one of my foot, I'd be hopping, so it'd be my only foot.